The next one comes from CM Highlights 1. Thoughts on Jaylen Brown's take on wanting the NBA to add a flopping technical, where if the ref is unsure of a call, they could call for a flop review and coaches can do it as well, and it will be a tech if the player is found guilty. Do you think the concept like this works? Any thought of flopping discourse across the league? He said on his live yesterday, specifically talking about the OKC game. So I did see that clip of Jaylen Brown, my favorite Twitch streamer, talking about the game after Shai Gilgeous-Alexander ended up, I think he had a first quarter where he had a couple different plays that you might deem as flopping, and ultimately when I say they, the Celtics ended up losing that game. I hate the idea of a flopping technical in this aspect of it. We do not need more stoppages to play. The way, because I don't like flopping either, by the way. I'm not a guy that's saying that it is okay. The way you get rid of the flopping is you just swallow the whistle. Something they told us for 5 seasons they were going to do. If you don't give these stars, or sometimes not even the star players, if you don't give these players the whistle after the third game of not giving the whistle, guess what? They will adjust. So just stop calling. Now, I understand a lot of times a bang bang play. Sometimes it is a flop. Sometimes it's not a flop. But sometimes you do need to see it in slow mo to see if it's a flop. But if we stop giving the jump into free throws, or because I don't want to take away the cookie jar free throws, because I think that is a legitimate basketball move, something that James Harden did for a decade. If you get your hand in that cookie jar, I'm rising up and I'm gonna shoot and I'm gonna get those fouls. I'm not even counting that as a flop and foul. But we do see people exaggerating the contact. Just swallow the whistle, dog. Man, if they added something where we get Billy Kennedy, if we get all these guys going to the monitor 4 more times a game, I'm gonna lose my mind. We already get it on any challenge play. We already get it at the end of games, anytime any whistle happen. If you added more, I can't do it. The easy solution is just not to call it. Just don't call it. The next one comes from Adam. Adam says, we always talk about being offensive systems, but who are some defensive systems in the league? My picks are Wembanyama. This is Adam, by the way. My picks are Wembanyama, Scotty, and Rudy. And I think this is such a great question, specifically for me, a guy whose entire upbringing here on the YouTubes or the internet is talking about how much I love a great defensive player. You already got some of the guys. I mean, Rudy Gobert. Did I pick this question to specifically talk about Rudy Gobert? Absolutely, I did. Because somebody on Numbers on the Board the other day just said that they don't know if Rudy Gobert is going to be all defensive first team. And I have to remind them that Rudy Gobert's team is 12 and a half points better defensively when he was on the court. Now, they're 7.5 points better offensively when he's off the court. So the swing difference is about 5 points. But we don't care about the offensive side of the ball. We talk about defensive systems. Rudy Gobert is that. And I think about Rudy Gobert's career. There's only been 2 times in his career where he hasn't been in the 90th percentile or higher in on and off defensive swing. In those 2 years, he was in the 80th percentile, so not too far away. And then the 1 year in Utah, I don't know what the hell was happening in Utah this year. He was 2 points better when he was on the court defensively, which is still great. Like, it's 70th percentile, but it ain't like this year. Rudy Gobert has the highest point differential swing defensively of his entire career. Ultimately, he won't win DPOY because Wembanyama also has a very similar number and he does more, but he's not too far away from DPOY. He just won't get it. I do, like I said earlier, I do think Chet is number 2, but if you have Wembanyama or you have Rudy Gobert number 3, I think that's right. I truly think that's right. And he is a defensive system in his own. And he has been for, let me count these years, 10, 12 years of his career. So nuts. So nuts. I mean, teams shoot 5%. I don't know. That's just some Rudy Gobert propaganda. If you don't have him on y'all defensive team, you need to watch some film and look at these analytics because he's really like that. He's still like that. His first year in Minnesota was also very bad, but he still was great defensively, which is nuts. So he undoubtedly a defensive system. Wembanyama, undoubtedly a defensive system. So in a different way from Rudy Gobert, Rudy Gobert always does have good deterrent stats. Like, that has always been his thing, even though players will say that they're not afraid of Rudy Gobert. Listen, we watch the games. We see the numbers. Your team shoots less at the rim when he's down there. That's not a coincidence, I don't think. Wembanyama has that to like a whole different level, where teams will be on a 2-on-1 fast break when Wembanyama is that guy down there, and they don't even attempt a shot. That's how crazy Wembanyama is defensively. So undoubtedly a defensive system. His defensive on-off swing is 11.5, which is slightly, I'm sorry, slightly worse than Rudy Gobert. So maybe Rudy Gobert should be in a conversation. No. And then you mentioned Scotty Barnes, which is a guy that I haven't thought about being a defensive system. And I don't know if he deserves to be in that category just yet. But damn, it's close. I thought about this for a long time, Adam. I thought about this for a long time since I saw your question. And I think he's close to doing it. And I think maybe what makes it a little bit difficult is because these guys, the Wembanyamas, the Rudies of the world, they take away the easiest shot in the game, which is the layup / shot from 5 feet closer. They are like just more valuable on that side of the ball. That makes it so like Scotty Barnes does everything everywhere, but not to the point where he's preventing layups and dunks from going in. You know what I'm saying? Other than the Jalen Green play from a couple nights ago, that is ridiculous. So he is very close to being that. Maybe just a couple more years at this level. I think he's undoubtedly all defensive first team guy, so I don't want to come off as disrespectful. I just don't know if he is a system in itself just yet, but it's close. The other guy you got to give credit to, and even if it's not the case so far this season, because I mean he's 36 years old, I have to talk about Draymond Green in that category because I mean, some of the stuff that Draymond Green has been able to do over the last couple seasons, again, not counting this year. So maybe that's why you didn't put him, because this year has not been the case. But not counting this year, he has been one of the best defensive systems in the league. He is the best center, the best defensive player of our generation, if you ask me. So shout out to Draymond. This year, not even close to even what last year was, where he almost stole DPOY, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or in his prime, the 2015-2016 season, where like what the hell was he doing that season? Everything. The answer is everything. But I love the idea of talking about defensive systems. And I thought about some other guys that like have potential to be that. And I think they're just super far away. Not even like this is a conversation that maybe will happen in 5 years for some of these dudes. But like Zach Edey just being 12'12" just makes him closer to that. I think Donovan Clingan has a potential to do it. It's not the greatest with Donovan Clingan because he does have some holes in his defensive game as a big fella. And I think that if you are going to be a defensive system, you have to shrink those different things you're vulnerable at. And I think he's still vulnerable on a lot of different things on that side of the ball. But I think one day he could be that because he is one of them ultra big shot blocking. And one thing that I admire about these guys, and one thing you'll notice about them, is that they don't allow offensive rebounds. Closing the possession is like a super important part of defense. Rudy Gobert, Victor Wembanyama, eventually Donovan Clingan, these guys get the stop and they close the possession, which is infinitely more valuable than anybody really gives credit for. The next question comes from Zay that says, what does Shai need to do to be considered for him to be considered best in the world? If you had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as of today, March 16th, 2026, as the best player in the world, I'm not even arguing with you. Personally, he is not the best player in the world to me, but I think this season he's got very close to having that be a conversation. When you think about all the clutch shot he's hit this season, of all of the injuries between Dub and Chad and Ihart, the list goes on and on, for them to still be the top team in the entire association, I think that he deserves some of that credit for being the best player in the world. The one thing that prevents him from being the best player in the world for me specifically, and why Jokic is still that guy for me, is that Jokic's playmaking at his size adds a whole different development to the offense. And Shai has continued to get better as a playmaker, even in the game that they played against the Nuggets last week. That was one of his best playmaking games of his entire career. But I know they lost this game, but the pass that Jokic made in that Lakers game a couple nights ago from the right wing to the left corner to end up in a big three, that is a play that, because of his size of being 7 foot and his vision in it, that is a play that only a few people in the world can do. And he touches all levels of the offensive side of the ball. And I think Shai is number 2. I've said that publicly. I think he's number 2. But if you had him number 1, I don't think you're too crazy.